Hey Chandra, hope you had a good flight here to Austin. As you can probably hear, there's quite a bit of work going on here at the house, but let me just go over a few of the bigger things that I've noticed out here. So these guys are working hard trying to get some pieces fixed up here. Really happy to see that they're working on that. Regarding the top of this castle feature, let me show you what I filmed a little bit earlier today. So this is what it's looking like now. You can see that the flashing is lifted up. You've got debris underneath it. This is pretty flat. Should have a slope down, even if it's a light 1% slope or something. Flashing is lifted. You know, there's all kinds of potential for moisture to get underneath the flashings on that side, all these sides. Anywhere there's flashing that's lifted, this needs to be addressed, and sooner rather than later, because I guarantee you there's moisture getting in underneath here, and it's always difficult to get out, especially when you have stucco. So I know you had some concerns about the height of this. It is within that 12-foot height limit. The only real issues that I saw here with the stairs are underneath, and you can see that this stair stringer, this is what actually makes the frame of your steps, this guy right here. It comes up and it does not stop at a ledger board, which more or less this one does. This one stops at the column post, but they have bent a joist hanger flat and nailed it in with that. Now that's kind of a ghetto way to do it. Not what I would like to see, but that's what they did. Is it gonna hold? Probably, but it's really not ideal. And then here, the stringers have, they're in contact with the ground. Now these steps here, these are cedar, I'm not worried about those. Though ideally they wouldn't be in contact with the ground either. But the stringers will start to deteriorate eventually, because they are not as hardy as cedar. Look at all that cedar. So here on this side, you can see that all of these vents, this is your makeup air vent. You've got these vents. What the hell are they? Somewhere up here. These vents all have the covers missing. They have not been installed. This one way up here. All these need to have their vent covers installed. That's easy enough fix. Here at this corner, you can see that this hose bib is super duper loose inside the wall. It's going all kind of which way. They need to figure out how to tighten that up inside that wall, because for sure there's some connection in there that is gonna come loose over time. Looking over here, there were a few things on top of the roof that needed to be covered. There was some minorly damaged shingles, things like that you can get pretty easy, but not until the handle breaks off and you have a doctor pull it out again. Here, we'll go ahead and go inside. So these lights here in the kitchen, you've got a 4-way switch. So this switch operates it, as does this switch over here. If it is properly installed. And that's why I bring it up, because it's not. So not doing anything. Now if we flip it back, comes on. 4-way switches are difficult to wire. And now this one works. And I bet you this one does too. So anyway, this needs to be wired properly. Underneath the basin here, you've got this guy. This is your motion sense cartridge. This needs to be installed according to the manufacturer's instructions, not just left to dangle. And then it wouldn't be a bad idea to fill that gap. All right, here's one I see far too often. It is debris in the drain. This is your master, your primary drain here. And you can see, if we're gonna take a peek, oh, come on thing. We're gonna take a peek down in it. that it is chock full of, let's analyze this. Probably grout. There's a leaf, another leaf. Lord knows what else. Anyway, debris. I'm going to call that debris. So if I've got debris like that in a shower, I am not testing it because I certainly don't want to push any of that further down the drain. That needs to be pulled out. Now, the fixtures are not sealed to the counter here on this side. So one of the tests I do is just the hand washing test. Throw a little bit of water up there. And you can see down below, there's a little bit of water down here. So that's what happens when these aren't properly sealed. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up, I promise. Coming into your scuttle hatch, there's no weather stripping on this, and your insulation baffles are missing, and this is the case for the other scuttle hatch in the office. Insulation baffles help to keep the insulation from falling down. Man, look at this view. You know what, you guys are lucky? Your view here is a lot better than their view over there. Because they don't get to see the green anymore. They get to see all these houses. A lot of windows that are binding. Let's see, this is not one of them. This one requires a opening control device because it's less than 24 inches off the ground and it's way more than 72 inches off the ground. Less than 24 inches from the floor is what I wanted to say. But this latch is a little bit stiff. But a lot of these windows are binding, and I'll show you some here. So here in the back right bedroom, you've got windows like this one that are binding. So they want to go to about that far. Same thing over there. So that needs to be fixed. Look at your neighbor's house, man. They've got a leak. I went over there and took a look at it. They've got a leak in their, what's it called? Their primary bathroom. Talking about bathrooms. Obviously they haven't finished any of this. Drip under sink. There's at least 3 of these around where you got water that's dripping from the stopper fixture there, dripping down. No, this wasn't me, I promise. I cleaned up my little mess. I'll clean this up too. Ooh, somebody's been in here since I was last doing my inspection. Debris in here as well, the cover's loose. So this is another one that I didn't test because I don't want to push that debris. This one's a wire, actually. There's a piece of wire down there, and that's just gonna catch all kinds of hair and God knows what. Forbid. Yuck. But hey, at least he washed his hands. I'm gonna leave this here because that won't be the last time that drips. Speaking of washing hands, I'm gonna wash my hands in this bathroom. Here in this bathroom, another binding window. And what else was there? I think this one was pretty good, actually. Here at your fireplace, this did not want to turn on. Also, the gas switch, the valve is not accessible. It's tucked away. Where is it? Right there. You can kind of see it right there underneath here. It's just you can't get to it. So these are supposed to be accessible, like all gas valves, of course. So coming here into the office, there was, okay, these guys are working hard, man. That's something that I called out. I can go ahead and take that out of the report. It was that just hadn't been painted. There's also missing the weather stripping around it and the insulation on top, as well as the insulation baffles. Okay, coming into this back right bedroom upstairs, a couple of windows that are binding here and here. In the bathroom, you've got another drip underneath that trap there. I think everything else in here was good. There was one thing I wanted to show you up here. Let's see, attic. Overall, the attic's pretty good. They should have some more insulation on this if possible, and you got your weather stripping that's here but missing here. Also the string, not present. So, you know, I've done one of these models that was very, very similar to this, and there was one of these, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was told that it did not need a GFCI because it was something that didn't need a GFCI. Anyway, but in case this is going to be a bar or a future sink, these should be GFCI protected. The other thing, shoot, what was it? Let me find it. Yes, I remember out here, and this is a big one too. It's not your missing rail. It's not the ding shingle over there or the deflection that's on the opposite side of that roof. It is here. Here's an example of one. This is a sad excuse for a kickout flashing right here. Here's another one. You can squeeze in right there. The idea is that any water that runs along here is going to be diverted away from the wall. Now, they're very important to have at roof-to-wall intersections, and also these intersections where water can potentially run, well, water will run down this column. Here you don't have one. And so what's gonna happen, and I've seen this happen with stucco, is water runs down here and penetrates into the stucco, and it will over time after your warranty is expired for sure. It's going to start deteriorating the sheathing, and then after the sheathing, it's the framing components, and then you start to see the stucco deflect and crack and stain, and then you got a big mess. So kickout flashing should have been installed before they did the floor, but they didn't. Or at least it didn't come out far enough. It should come farther out. Anyway, they really need to, this is the best one I'm seeing. It's not even that great. But this is a really important place to have kickout flashing. Right there. Coming up here into the attic, you've got some really nice tankless water heaters. Really nice. This is a drain for your condensation. You're supposed to have, hang on, let me turn the light on. Ding. Oh, shit. Oh, crap. Whoa, almost lost it down there. This is the drain for your condensation. It has to have this loop so that it has a trap, just like this one does. Now, this one's been fastened. This one has not. It's just all loopy and dangly, but it should be fastened. Overall, these look pretty good. Now the ACs, furnaces, they look good as well. Wouldn't hurt to have some insulation on these drain lines. What's gonna happen, they did put insulation on this one, which is great, but they didn't put insulation here. You're gonna have cold air blowing out through here, and that will eventually cool this off and start to condensate. And you could, on older homes, I do see a lot of mildew growing on these. Same thing here. So both these units need that. And this suction line, you see the insulation on your suction line here, that is missing insulation at the very, very, very bottom. You can feel the copper right here. So this is gonna drip into your drain pan. Give it a year or two, it's gonna start to rust. And even though it's galvanized, it will rust a hole in that. And besides, you don't wanna create a source of moisture for any kind of rodents or anything. What else? Oh yes, there were several tears in the in this liner here, this wrapping. This can allow moisture to enter and condensate against the duct, and that would trap moisture in here. So that needs to be taped. There's several of these around. And last but not least, there is a hole here in the attic space. that goes down. You've got this vent coming out. And if you take a peek down in there, you can see that there's all kinds of wall around it. So this is some sort of a chase, but there's no insulation on those walls. And of course, you can just imagine cold air that might, you know, in February, next freeze that we have, infiltrating in through that hole and dropping down and cooling off that area. That's a break in the thermal envelope right there. This hole needs to be sealed up and make sure all that insulation is nice and thick on top of it. So there you go. Those are the bigger things that I've noticed here. Overall, not too bad. That roof, man, that roof at the entrance, that weird feature, that architectural castle design is really strange to see. And just, I mean, it needs to be done right. Obviously, everything needs to be done right. It goes without saying. But that one especially, because flat roofs collect water, and roofs that are not finished, that are flat, collect water especially well. So I don't know what they can do about that. I would hope they would have fixed that by now, because I do remember that was a big part when I first saw that in the pre-drywall report. When I put it in the pre-drywall report, I was thinking, oh my God, how are they going to do this? Well, here on the final, I see that they haven't done anything with it, essentially. So would love to see all this stuff get fixed. We'll see to what extent it does. But, you know, the important thing is that you got it documented. So, all right, man. Give me a call if you have any questions about it. And thanks again for having me out.